Working hard to try and make that happen. I want to assure everyone that all of the substations have been working, PSE&G has been working, and we've got teams from across the country working on our substations, and they were all worked on simultaneously. One of our substations, Marshall Street, is the one that was most severely damaged from the flooding. It's also the oldest, from like 1948, and so they are continuing to get in the parts that they need, and as they get the parts that they need, they are energizing it and trying to make sure. Obviously, we're working fast and furiously. I was on the phone, I think, with the executive director Garcia of the Housing Authority, until like 2 o'clock last night. So we're coordinating and trying to get as many of those buildings energized and with power one way or another. We truly appreciate the Army Corps of Engineers has come in, and they installed a generator for a number of buildings in the Housing Authority. So really, focused on helping those most in need at this time, and trying to make sure that we have lights and heat for those most in need at this time. So if you are in a building that does not have power, like all of your neighbors are powered up and you are seeing that you don't have power, you need to call us and let us know what and I'm just going to read off these names, these numbers. The numbers to call: 214-561-0671. Again, that's 214-561-0671, and then 0672, 0674, and 0675. Okay, we'll be putting out a press release, but it's 214-561-0671, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're trying, what we've got is a team of electricians coming in, and we're trying to track down as many electricians as we possibly can. Because basically we're moving into the troubleshooting mode. So if you're in a building that doesn't have power, and you see that everyone else is energized around you, that means potentially that there's a control panel problem, or there's some kind of problem inside your building. And so we are trying to help you with finding those electricians that are a really important asset right now. So the city will, through this call center, this utility hotline, we're going to trying to deploy the electricians where they are needed. Right now we're focused on the Housing Authority and those senior buildings that are still not powered up, but we want to help everyone. So we need to know where you are and what your issues are. And then we're coordinating with PSE&G because it's a utility, electricity issue. It could be inside your building, but it could be outside your building. So we've got a coordination going on, so we can try to get everyone. I mean, that is obviously, I'm trying to make sure, especially as this nor'easter comes in, that we're trying to make sure that we've got everybody with their electricity back. That is our focus, and that's what we're absolutely trying to make sure to get done. So, but the first step is again, we haven't completely, the process of powering up the Marshall Street substation is still underway, but in the meantime, those buildings that are not energized, we want to try to make sure to get electricians in there to do that review, so that we know whether or not there's issues internally, and you can start that process of doing those repairs. And we're also, working on finding parts. So we've sort of got that call-in center, trying to find out who needs what, and get the team out there trying to find those parts, so that we can get everyone's issues resolved as quickly as possible and get you powered back up on the grid. I know this morning was a difficult commute for many people. There were, additional buses. I was just on the phone with Jim Weinstein from the executive director of New Jersey Transit, where they have already put in a request to the FTA, and actually been on a call with President Obama again today, and just emphasizing, please help New Jersey Transit to fill that request for 350 additional buses for the state of New Jersey. So that process is definitely underway. We know it was a tough commute, and we're trying to help everyone to alleviate that. Also looking at the possibility of the ferry prices. I know there's a lot of concern about that, and that's something that we have to talk internally to figure out whether there's something that the city can do. Also, I know the schools are a major concern and when the schools are opening, so I'm going to turn it over to Superintendent Toback to talk about that and talk about the process that they've been going through so that we can get our children back to school. Superintendent.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor Zimmer, for inviting me to provide the community with an update on the status of our school system. We also appreciate all of your help in this difficult time, all the support of the school system. I know that all of us desire to return to our regular routine, and we'd like to start moving forward after experiencing such devastating losses. The Board of Education is very much aware that one key way to restore our normal routines is to have the children back in school as soon as possible. We've literally been working around the clock to make that happen. And I would like to take a moment to recognize our custodial and maintenance staff, along with a variety of other school employees, our food service, our transportation department for providing shuttle service throughout the city. They've put in an enormous effort to restore our schools and also to support the community over the past week. After hearing so much bad news for the past few days, I thought the best thing to do would be to start with good news for the residents of the city with regard to the state of our schools. First of all, the Branch School, Demarest School, and Hoboken High School all have heat and power, and the facilities are ready for students to return. There was no damage to these schools. Wallace School will be operating on normal electric power once the generator is disconnected. There is electric to the school, we just have to switch over from generator power. That should happen today. The school basement, the cafeteria, the Board of Ed room, the music room, the credit union were all flooded badly. The boilers that are in the basement of the building were also flooded. The good news is that the boilers themselves at this point do not appear to have been compromised, but rather the electrical control panels. So those either have to be replaced or they have to be repaired. Connor School was the most severely damaged school. 3 classrooms on the first floor were completely destroyed, along with the cafeteria, the kitchen, food service areas, and the offices. Residents know that floodwaters in this part of town had some contaminants. This requires extensive cleanup. Under the circumstances, the district hired Royal Services to assist with the environmental cleanup of Connor School. Clavo School, no classrooms or office spaces must be repaired. There was no damage. The building has electricity. The problem is below grade, where there is a boiler and also electrical panels. So at this point, the boiler, like in the other schools, appears to be in good shape other than the electrical control panels. That has to be replaced. So there are, like I said, there are some boiler problems. That means there's some problems with heat, but as it turns out, most of the damage is isolated to the electrical panels, which can generally be replaced pretty easily. There is one wild part out there, and that is the St. Francis facility. The Hoboken Board of Ed leases 6 classroom spaces in the St. Francis facility. That area does not have heat at this time, but we'll know more about the St. Francis space Tuesday. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. We are hoping, and we are targeting Thursday as the day that we will resume classes throughout all the city schools. There's no guarantees, and we will notify the community for sure on Wednesday afternoon. Our opening at this point is contingent on continuing to have our electric and, of course, getting our boilers into shape that they're functional and safe. The Hope preschool classrooms that I mentioned in Connor School will be moved to the Branch School. So we'll need to make some space available there. And the other thing I would like to mention is that when we do open, I know there's been a lot of concerns about food. We are working very feverishly to make sure that we're able to not only serve lunch as we normally would, we also want to be able to serve breakfast to our students when we open back up, hopefully on Thursday. We also expect to have our wraparound programs, our pre-day, preschool daycare, and aftercare available for all the students. The other thing, though, to keep in mind is that Hoboken High School is a center of a lot of activity right now. Hoboken High School is a distribution center for food. Hoboken High School is a location where all sorts of donations are coming in from around the country. And so we will have to restore our educational programs, keeping in mind the needs of the community and the emergency situation that exists right now, along with Wallace School, which is also serving as
And
a
want to
shelter.
reassure you and thank Governor Christie very much for providing us with support. The state police have come in to support our police department, and they are staying here and helping us with that. The National Guard is remaining here until, there's still a number, a couple of thousand people who are still without power, and we still need to shelter in their homes. And so we're still, for those of you who can, asking for your support in volunteering and going. And we've got the Red Cross is here, Salvation Army is here, just trying to make sure to get either those hot meals or the canned goods up to those residents who we are sheltering within their homes. So we're continuing our pod structure and want to make sure to try and keep our community safe, until their power is restored, and also, preparing for a nor'easter that, potentially I understand is coming in later, possibly tomorrow night, and we could be experiencing flooding again. So I have asked the National Guard to definitely stay, at least a portion of their team to stay with us through this storm, so that we can have that support if needed through this nor'easter. Hoping it'll turn in a different direction, but we're preparing for that as a possibility. Also, I know there's been a lot of questions about what we're thinking is we're going to schedule the Ragamuffin Parade for Monday the 12th. We want to make sure that everyone can come, and everyone hopefully will absolutely have power by then, and so that's what we're going to do, is schedule it for Monday the 12th, and really looking forward to bringing our community together for a celebration. So Monday the 12th is when we're going to be holding the Ragamuffin Parade. We are continuing the efforts, obviously, to rebuild our community. Encourage those of you who are out there and to just spread the word. I'm working with the Rotary Club to create a place where donations can be made, rebuildhoboken.org, and that's rebuildhoboken.org. So if you know people who want to help our city, obviously we have thousands of people who are now homeless. So many local businesses that are so vital to our community have been devastated by this storm. So rebuildhoboken.org, if you can help us spread the word so that we can help our community to rebuild. I know sanitation has been a major concern. We again thank the state for sending in additional resources. We've got additional vendors. We thank Environmental Services so much for all of the work that they are doing. And quite frankly, if anyone wants to put on some gloves and get out there and help our Environmental Services team, we certainly welcome that. As you can see, there's a lot out there and there's a lot to clean up, but we are making a lot of progress and working hard on that front. We just ask everyone to follow the regular schedule as far as what you put out at this point. So, but we are continuing that process of really cleaning up our city and our streets. So with that, I will open it up to questions.
Regarding the Marshall substation, does that cover the 500 blocks of Grand? And if so, when do you expect that to be reopened?
Well, we're expecting, unfortunately there's no